Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Larissa here. How are you guys doing? What is going on? So in today's video, if you didn't see by the title, we are doing my full face foundation routine. So I'm walking you through it. I'm telling you what I'm doing and hopefully teaching you a thing or two. So if you guys want to see how I got this look right here, then just keep watching, guys. You want to make sure that you are cleaning your skin before you start with your makeup. Your skin is going to look 10 times better whenever you do that. The very first thing that I do is I go in with my Bye Bye Breakout from It Cosmetics, and I basically place it everywhere where I have a breakout. So after I do that, now I'm just going to take a small little tapered brush and I'm just going to basically blend out the edges of that concealer. And then I take a damp beauty blender and I basically kind of blend this out a little bit further, soak up any of that extra concealer that's still on the skin. Another thing about moisturizer that a lot of people misunderstand is if you have oily skin, you don't want to moisturize because you already have oil on your skin. And what you don't understand is moisturizer is not oil on your skin. Moisturizer is hydration for your skin. So whenever you have excess oil, a lot of times it's because you are dehydrated, so your body has to produce more oil to kind of give your skin what it needs. Now I'm going to moisturize my skin and I'm just using my all-time favorite moisturizer right now, which is my Neutrogena Hydro Boost Moisturizer. And lately, I have been really into applying my moisturizer with a brush. So I'm just taking my XoXo. So I have about that much, and I'm just applying this everywhere. After you apply your moisturizer, make sure to let that sit in your skin for about 5 minutes. So I love taking my Smashbox Primer Water, basically just giving it a really good spritz of hydration. Pretty much that's what this is doing. This is silicone free and oil free and alcohol free. So this is one of my favorites. I love the Too Faced RX Hangover Primer. This primer is water-based and coconut water-based, so it is definitely really good for dehydrated skin or dry patches. And I'm just putting that on the same brush that I use my moisturizer with, honestly, and just one squirt will do. And I'm just moving that all over my skin. And I'm just going to let that primer also sit in for about 5 minutes. I like to think of my face as if we have two circles in it. So we have an inner circle, which is going to be right here, kind of from where my brows are at and to my lips. And then you have your outer circle, which is your entire face. And I like to kind of almost keep my foundation out of my inner circle, because I'm concealing a lot right there. So there's just no need to cake on all that foundation in those areas whenever I'm using a full coverage concealer. I find that every time I use any other foundation, I'm not as satisfied as whenever I use this one. This is the MAC Studio Water Weight Foundation. It does have an SPF of 30 and I'm in shade NC20. I will just take a squirt of that and kind of squirt that right there. And I am taking my Clarisonic with the foundation brush head. You do not need to invest in this Clarisonic to get a flawless finish. I just really love this and I spent the money on it, so I'm gonna use it. You can use a beauty blender or you can even use a brush like the one that I used to put my moisturizer and primer on. Just any brush that is kind of dense and fluffy will do. But in my case, I'm just going to be taking my Clarisonic and blending that all out. And again, like I said, I like to focus more on the outer circle, so I'm not even really bringing it up too much in here. I really blend it out on the outer half first. Okay, well, change of plans, my Clarisonic died, so that's depressing. So now I'm taking my beauty. I like to do one section at a time, so I like to think of my skin as if I have multiple sections during my foundation. So I think of this as one section, this as one section, and this as one section. And I kind of blend out this first, this second, and then this third. I just find that it helps me blend out my foundation and not have to super rush through. Because always remember, you can apply more whenever you need it. Okay, so for me, this is enough coverage for my foundation. A lot of people will typically go back over and give themselves another layer of foundation to add more coverage. And as though that may seem like it's the right thing to do because you're looking at your skin and you're like, well, I want more coverage. You can also build that coverage up with other products. So now, instead of going through with another layer of foundation, I'm going to go through with a layer of my concealer, and I use my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. And I'm a little high maintenance and extra, so I like to go through with 2 concealers. So I use my Tarte Shape Tape, and it is in shade Fair Neutral, which is about 2 shades lighter than my skin tone. And then I like to go through with a cheaper concealer that is also just as good. So I really love my Makeup Revolution, and this is in shade C4, which is about my skin tone. So I like to take my Tarte Shape Tape on my inner corner of my eye. And yes, I love to have a lot of concealer because again, that's where I get my coverage at. Then I take that same Tarte Shape Tape concealer and do it on my chin, just a couple marks. One right here, on the tip of my nose, and 3 lines. Then I take my Makeup Revolution shade C4 concealer and I basically extend this out. So I basically go where the other concealer ends and bring some more product right there. So I do it like that. And that is just basically going to give me more coverage and still define and highlight my skin the way that I want it to be. I first do my eyes, so I go underneath my eyes and blend it out. Then it's not fully blended out under my eye, but I'm going to go right where that line ends on the concealer and blend out right there so that line doesn't settle and become hard to blend out. And then I'm going to do the same with the other side, kind of blend it out right here in the middle just to set it exactly where I want it to go. And it's not fully blended out, but I'm going to go ahead and go on the edge of that concealer and blend out that line again because I don't want that line setting in and being hard for me to blend out later. And then I'll go back through and blend that part out. And then I'll go to the next place, which was my chin, and I'll kind of blend out the edge of the lines because it's been sitting there for a while and I don't want that to be too hard to blend out. And then I'll go through and blend out the rest. Then for my nose, I like to go very softly because I don't want to move the product too much because my nose is one spot where I kind of lose a lot of coverage. So I kind of tap that product in and then bring it down almost to blend it out some more. And then between my brows, I just have to be soft again because my brows are already done. I like to do my brows first and then my eyes and then my face. It's just the way that works best for me, but what works best for me might not work best for you, so just do what you're comfortable with. So I like to go back through and kind of take just a fluffy blending brush and pat that all down again to get rid of any of the creases because however you set this powder on your skin is how it is ultimately going to lay. I like to go straight to baking and I'm just taking my Laura Mercier translucent powder and first place it where the creasing is at usually, and then I will kind of bake everywhere else, and I bake everywhere where I put concealer. And then I just do it very softly on the middle of my nose because again, I don't want to move my nose too much. While I'm letting that set, I like to go ahead and bronze up my skin with a very light bronzer. And I like to take a big fluffy brush. So I'm just taking my Aesthetica P12 brush in my 9C palette from Morphe. And I'm taking this middle shade right here, because again, it's still a tint of bronzer for my skin tone. Bronze everywhere where I want to contour. Doing this to almost set the foundation everywhere else where I did not bake. So on my cheekbones, my temples of my forehead. I'm taking my Shade and Light palette, and I'm just going to take this middle shade right here on my XoXo. And this is a really nice contour brush for me. I would never have used a brush that is this fluffy for contour, but it actually is my favorite contour brush. And I basically sculpt out my cheekbones, so I do that stupid fishy look. And then I'll go through and blend it all out once the product is dispersed. And I'll put just whatever is extra on my brush on my jawline. I don't like to carve out my jawline too much unless it is just for like a photo shoot or a bomb picture or something like that, just because I find that it looks too unnatural once you get up close and in person. Taking that and dusting away my bake. I'm going to take whatever is left on my beauty blender from that powder and sculpt out my cheekbones. So I'm just lightly pressing that down so that way I can clean up that contour. Now I'm just taking my Aesthetica P12 brush and brushing that bake underneath my contour away. Now I'm grabbing my 9C palette again from the Morphe palette and a huge fluffy blending brush. This is my XoXo, and I'm taking that middle shade and going back through and just adding more life and dimension into my skin. Another tip whenever going in with like your contours and eyeshadows and just honestly any powders at all with your brushes, you always want to make sure you're tapping off that excess, because you will pick up a lot of product if the shadow or the shade that you're picking up is super pigmented. So you want to be careful in making sure you're tapping off that every single time. You can always add more if you want to add more, but it's so much harder to take it off if you want to take it off. So I'm just using my Stila lipstick in shade Patina. We are going to set our skin with some of our MAC Fix Plus, and it just kind of melts your makeup into your skin and makes it look more like skin. Right now, since I've had so much like powders and stuff on my skin, it's a little bit chalky in a way and unlike skin. Something new that I've been doing in my routine with my foundation routine is I've been doing my highlighter before my blush, which is weird because a lot of people do highlight at the very end. So I'm going to be using my Pure highlighter. This one is so pretty in shade Afterglow, and I've been using like a different brush than I used to use. So now I use a fluffy brush. This is my M510. Hit it on my cheekbones right here, on my chin, and I spray my skin again with some MAC Fix Plus. Then I take my M558, and it's just a super small fan brush.
Well, my brow bone above my lips, but I just have to apply my lipstick now.
Right now, I am loving two blushes at the same time. I know, again, high maintenance. I don't know when it's gonna stop, okay? I'm sorry. It is what it is. But right now, I've been loving my Laura Geller Tropic Hues and my Benefit, what's this shade? Living the California Dream? California? Is it California? Okay, I'm just gonna call it that. In my Benefit California. That's what we gonna call that. So I'm taking my Morphe E4 brush. It's the best blush brush you will ever have. And I'm just taking some of my Baked and Brighten from the Laura Geller, putting that on basically right where I applied that highlight. Then I take that same, like whatever's left, And first, pop it a little bit more right there to make sure I don't have a lot. And then, watch this. I'm going to apply it on my nose, my forehead, and my chin. It's weird, I know, but wait. This makes you look just so much better. It just does. It just does. I'm convinced that's what I'm going with. Taking the Benefit on the same brush.
And doing the same thing.
And last but certainly not least, we are taking our good old Urban Decay All-Nighter Spray and we are setting this. Because we do not want this to go anywhere at all for a long time. Alright guys, and that is it for today's video. Hope that you guys learned a lot today. This routine literally makes my face look so flawless. It's not cakey. We are covered. Make sure to comment down below what your favorite tips and tricks were, or comment some of your favorite tips and tricks that you know or you learned from somebody else. And if you liked this video, then please make sure to like the video, of course. And if you haven't already, then subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have not heard, I am still doing my giveaway, so make sure you go check that out and go enter. I will put that link down below, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. So, till then, see you later.